Greetings, everyone. So glad to have you with us here at Inner Light Ministries for our weekly virtual offering. I'm Rev D, Reverend Deborah Johnson. And as we get started here, I just invite you to take a breath. Take a couple of deep breaths. Yes. Today, we're going to be talking about being the flow, being it, that how I am the flow. We're in such interesting times, let us say. And for all of you who participated in the No King's Day activities yesterday, if you were amongst those millions, and however it is that you are standing up for liberty and justice and democracy, I want to say thank you for making your voice known, and thank you for your presence. Thank you for your prayers. Okay, because we're all in this together. There's only one planet, there's only one people, there's only one life, and we all live it and we all share it together. So we're going to be talking about today how it is that we actually manage to do that. Yeah, take a breath. Take a breath. One of the ways that we do that is remembering our purpose as a spiritual community, which is going to come on your screen now. And I invite you to just let it sink in. That Inner Light is an open, diverse, inclusive community of individuals and organizations dedicated to spiritual transformation. We provide tools for activating higher possibilities by applying universal spiritual principles to all circumstances. Our aim is personal and global healing through the omni-faith energy of love and the revealing of our own inner light. Promoting life's sacred interconnectedness, we embody spiritual oneness, appreciate individualized expressions, and honor all paths that lead to spiritual truth, justice, and ecological regeneration. So just let that breathe in for a moment. Yes. You know, it is interesting how things kind of cycle around. That there was a time when it was considered quite radical to be and describe yourself as an open and a diverse and inclusive community. And then we kind of normalize that a little bit. And for those who are truth seekers, who particularly consider themselves to be more spiritual than quote unquote religious, that became more of a mainstay. It was sort of an expectation. And we find ourselves back here again, where it is daring and it is radical to affirm anything that has to do with diversity, equity, or inclusion. But I'm telling you now, we're not backing down. We will not be silent. We've been a spiritual community almost 30 years now. I don't care what's going on in the outer world. We will not, I don't care what anybody is doing, back away from our stance of oneness, which I'm going to be talking about today. Let's just take a breath. Let's take a breath. And to help to move us even deeper into this place of being the flow, I invite you to say with me the affirmative activations that are coming on your screen. Say them with me if you're able to. Universal abundance is forever flowing through me. I am an open channel of divine goodness. Nowhere is there a blockage. All impediments are cleansed away. My life forever reflects the sea of enoughness in which I live. Lack and limitation cannot dock on my shores. All things are working together for my good. The good I seek is seeking me. I release all resistances to being a great giver in life. The more I give, the more I receive. I am the embodiment of life's gracious and consistent givingness to itself. I live in the overflow. My cup runneth over. Just breathe that in. Breathe it in. Notice if there's something that's really calling you out, something that's truly resonating with you. Maybe it's the more I give, the more I receive. Maybe it's all things are working together for my good. Just let that sink in. Also, notice, are there any things that are kind of challenging for you or you're feeling you need to grow into? Maybe something like, nowhere is there a blockage. All impediments are cleared away. Or lack and limitation cannot dock on my shores. Perhaps it's I live in the overflow. My cup runneth over. Just notice. These 100 words are there to help you recalibrate. Okay. And I invite you to come back to them. Maybe you want to take a screenshot now on your, if you're on a computer, or get a digital device like a phone and just take a snapshot, take a photo. You'll find them on our website. You can come back and look at it in our YouTube archive. The point is that this is just exposing you to it. But it's when you repeat it that it takes deep root within you to bear the good fruit. So soak this in and come back to it. And to also help us to recalibrate a bit so that our consciousness is open for this exquisite time together to see what it is that the divine wants to share with us. We're going to take a listen to one of the dear friends of the Inner Light community, Gary Lynn Floyd, and his song Unbound.
Open your mind, unfold your heart, relax your senses, and feel every part. You ain't got a thing to feel. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Yeah. Breathe every breath out. Yeah. Release your cringe. Love without waiting, slowly unhinge. Yeah. You ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Yeah. Unbound. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are. Yeah, who you are already. Lift up your voice, oh, lift it up now, now, and let it be heard, let it be heard, and tell me your story, tell it to me, don't leave out a word, not a word, no, 'cause I think I have been there too, I'm a seeker just like you. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unwound, yeah. Unbound, yeah. Lay it down, lay it down, lay it down, down, unbound, yeah. Open your mind and unfold your heart, yeah.
Yeah, let's just breathe that in. And thank you for that, Gary. There was a New Thought conference in Las Vegas a few weeks ago. And Gary Lynn Floyd was one of the main musical inspirations for that particular weekend. And through various mishaps and things that happened with his room, he wound up through somebody familiar with the conference of getting a comp ticket to one of the really nice hotels in the Strip in downtown, in the Strip area of Las Vegas. There's a particular hotel I hadn't been there before called the Stratosphere. And the reason why it's called the Stratosphere is because it's so tall. So he invited me to come there one of the evenings. We had dinner, and he had also been gifted complimentary tickets to go up to the top. Now, the top is 110 stories high. And then there's more. No, on top of that is like an amusement park that has these different rides, and people bungee jump off the side of that building, and they have those rides that take you straight up and then like drop you like this tall steeple. We did not do that. All of that was closed in the evening. But the view, OMG, this panoramic 360 of the area was just beyond breathtaking. Really, really breathtaking. And it's built such that there's another deck that's a little bit below you that stretches out. So it isn't like you're looking just dead over into a dead heat. And even the rails were such that they moved like cylinders. So even if you tried to like get up on it to get over on this, you're not going to be able to do it because it's just going to pull you back. I've never seen guardrails like that, but I thought that's really, really ingenious. We had a chance to have a very intimate talk together during dinner. And we both have some similar backgrounds, just coming at it from different racial ends. We're both openly gay. We both were raised in very evangelical environments. He's Southern Baptist, and I grew up in the Pentecostal denomination of the Church of God in Christ. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's from Texas. And some of his relatives are really, really big in the Southern Baptist Convention, which is the religious base of the MAGA movement. So we just had this conversation about what it's like to be us, to be spiritual people who stand for the oneness in the midst of all of the kind of divisiveness and tension and things that are going on. We've always had our challenges, so it isn't like it's been smooth sailing. But just what do we do here now? How do we remain this open channel? Because here's the thing. All of life is interconnected. You can't shut down in one area and expect to still flow in another. Okay. You can't shut down in love and expect that not to impact your creativity. You can't just shut down with your biological family of origin and not think that that's going to impact your families of choice now or your business relationships. It just doesn't work that way. You can't say no over here and expect that no to be self-contained. The energy of no neutralizes yes. It's like a positive and a negative that come together and then cancel each other out. Take a breath. Take a breath. We're coming up soon on the holidays, and many people participated yesterday in the No Kings rallies and marches that were happening not just across the United States, but in many other countries in the world. What an extraordinary showing. And as I said in the opening, for those of you who participated, I want to thank you for showing up, for your visibility, for your efforts, for finding your voice, not being silenced. And whether you were in the streets or not, your prayers, your possibility consciousness, your willingness to stay part of the flow, is extremely, extremely important. As Gary and I were talking, we were really particularly zeroing in on what it's like to have relationships, close relationships with people that you find it difficult to feel close to, um, because of your politics, because of your different ways of being. And yet, whatever, you're related, or they're in your sphere, or there's some kind of a bond or bind that keeps you together. Just take a breath here. And I was giving him a lot of insights and things that come up for me in ways in which I look at this and perceive it. And I don't have to go into all of the details of our conversation. But what I will say is that coming out on the other side of it was a deeper commitment to continue to be, If you allow your light to dim, if you allow the graciousness of your givingness, your presence, to go up or down, depending upon the things that are happening out in the world, then you're cutting yourself short. See, the forgiveness that you don't extend is forgiveness that you cannot receive. See, love you fail to give is love that cannot reciprocate to you. When we love, it isn't just something that we're doing for the other people. It's something that we're doing for our own selves. I just had the first session of my Faith in Action Bible series a couple of days ago. And we were talking about this, and I was sharing with them certain, Bible tools, talking about a particular tense in the Greek language called the middle voice. And that middle voice, we didn't even have in English. The middle voice says that the action that you're doing is impacting the one who's doing it. So when it says things like love, when it says things like forgive, we think it's about the other person. But it's not about the other person. It's about you. It's about you. This, soak that in for a moment. I'm working with several people right now who are very new in recovery. I mean, like less than 60 days, kind of new. For any of you who ever done recovery, you know that's a very tenuous time where so much comes up. And you begin to kind of get in touch with the fact that we have allowed people, places, and things, judgments, resentments, regrets, guilt, shame, blame, all of that stuff to stop our flow. When we turn to substances, when we turn to people, places, and things as our quote unquote drug of choice to anesthetize, to try to make ourselves feel better, to give us coping mechanisms, just to keep us from losing our minds. When we're doing all of that, we're shut off from our own flow. Getting sober isn't just about getting alcohol out of your life. Getting clean isn't just about getting drugs out of your life. It's about opening up your flow. It's about giving you the opportunity to be you, to feel, deal, and heal, so that compassion can keep running through you, that creativity can keep running through you, that hope and possibility and generosity, care, concern, support, balance, integrity, hope, that all of these things can keep flowing through you. Take a breath. We make a mistake so often in thinking that money, economics, financial stuff is in its own separate category, dealing with its own issues, its own concerns, its own timing, indifferent to us. We're chasing after it. No. No, 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 no. You are it. You are it. Abundance is your nature. It's not something external that you have to chase after. Quite the contrary. We have to recalibrate our energy such that we are it. This metaphysical Bible workshop that I just did, it was called The Intent to Be Whole, the intent to be made whole. We used as our text a story in the Bible. It's called the Pool at Bethesda. And it's the story of a man who had a particular illness for 38 years. He would come to this particular location. It was actually at a sheep market with five porches. And there was down below a pool, like an eddy, a whirlpool. At certain times, said that the angels would go down. In the King James Version, it says, and trouble the waters. The more accurate translation would probably be to agitate the waters. The famous Black hymn, Wading in the Waters, comes from this. God's going to trouble the waters. During the Underground Railroad time, when people would get into the rivers, particularly the Mississippi, to say that God's going to trouble the waters was code that the freedom train was coming. And when you got in the waters, just like at that pool, you were cleansed. You were cleansed of your illness. You were instantly made whole, regardless of what it was. That when you got into the river, your scent was gone. The dogs couldn't chase you. And that river became your pathway to the cleansing, being cleansed and liberated out of the enslavement. This man had been waiting. When Jesus asked him, will you be made whole? Will you be made whole? And he's like, yes, yes. And he explains his dilemma. And his dilemma is that he says, no man will pick me up and carry me down. It was the first to get into the pool when it got agitated, who were the ones who were instantly healed. He says, everybody just keeps rushing in front of me, and there's nobody to take me down there. And Jesus says to him, take up your bed and walk. Take up your bed and walk. And it says, and instantly he was made whole. And I was cautioning people in the class to not speak of it so much as instantly he was healed. This whole speaks of the aliveness, the essence, the truth of our health and our vitality. And it came forth. This is different from he's sick and now he's not sick. It's he was already whole. He wasn't experiencing the wholeness, but now he is in an ongoing sort of way. This will you be made whole, this word that's being used there doesn't speak of the process. It doesn't speak of the process. It speaks of the end result. I talk about this often. How in the English language we use the same words for both the verb and the ensuing noun. So there's a building, like I'm in now, but then there's the process of the building. Okay. When we're dealing with the ongoingness of it, most of us just completely forget that there was a process of the building. Because we're dealing with what remains here. This is true so much in our social political arena as well, where we're left with the remains and we've completely forgotten about the process that's gotten us here. And conversely, we also forget that in order to get the lasting ensuing, we have to have the process. You can't get a building without building, the process of building. So when he's asking him, will you be made whole? He's saying, look, the making of you being whole, that's already happened. By divine design, that's already happened. Now the question is, will you be it? Will you accept it? And this will isn't just a passive thing. It speaks of intent, an intent to have one's desire carried all the way out to its full fruition and fulfillment. Jesus was basically testing him to say, are you ready? Is this what you really want? And the guy wanted it. He just had a false idea of it had to be outside of himself, that it was going to come from this pool, and that he had to wait around for somebody to open up the door and to make it happen. And what Jesus was saying, like the Nike, just do it. You already are it. You are the flow. You don't have to chase after the water. You don't have to get down in the water. You don't have to wait for somebody to put you in. You are it. You are it. You are the flow. It's who you are. Just soak that in for a moment. Will you be that? Will you be that? The things that stop us from being that are the things that I just talked about. The hardening of our hearts, the lack of possibility consciousness. It's all these different things that come in. Just as when you're in recovery, you have to make a conscious effort. You got to take a fierce inventory. You can't just let the stuff sit there and fester. You have to be willing to face yourself, to make some changes, to rearrange your life. You have to be willing to make amends, to go back and try to course correct. You can't undo what's done. You can't unring the bell, but you can certainly have some accountability. You can make efforts to try to offset, to mitigate the on-lasting rippling effects of the things that you have set into motion from your previous building, so to speak, activity. But we can always set something else in motion. We're never just stuck with that, because we are part of a flow. We can course correct because we are the flow. We can change directions because we are the flow. We cannot be stopped. We can't be stopped. Yes, we're in a very contentious social political environment. Yes, it is deliberately being made to be more and more divisive. Yes, the same thing is true in our information ecosystems, particularly in things like social media. However, there's you. There's your choices. Listen to what I'm saying. Nobody can make you stop loving. Nobody can make you turn your back on somebody. When folks are determined to love each other, ain't nothing you can do about it, baby. Nothing. You ever try to stop some clandestine lovers? Huh? They could be 15. They don't even have to be 55. Have you ever tried to stop people from being friends who wanted to be friends? Have you ever really tried to separate a mother from her children? Now, she may pretend in front of her husband, you know, the father, to be all this or that on quote unquote his side. But she's busy slipping little kids money. She's busy checking on them and sending them provisions and whatnot just on the DL. You cannot stop people. Don't use other people's hatred and vitriol as some excuse for you to stop your flow. Nobody can stop you from loving people if you choose to love them. Nobody can stop you from feeling the oneness if you choose to feel it. And even if you don't feel it, nobody can stop you from proclaiming it anyway. And moving and walking in that direction. You want your finances to flow? You gotta flow. You want your chi, health, energy to flow? You have to flow. You have to flow in your consciousness. You got to be an open channel. An open channel. Okay. I mentioned in the 12-step program how you have to take a fierce inventory. You have to just like deliberately force yourself. I've shared this from time to time. I remember when I first became conscious of the need to do this as practice, I still lived in Los Angeles. And I I use the process of driving as my way of getting into the oneness, where I just became a very aware and alert driver. A lot of cars in Los Angeles. I'm just saying. Um, even if you don't have one, you kind of out of luck, because is it really, really sufficient mass transportation, in Los Angeles? So people drive. There's hundreds of millions of cars out there. And when you got millions of people on the road, let's just say everybody's not necessarily courteous. Let's just say that. Okay. And what I just practiced myself on was my driving. Okay. My driving and being mindful and courteous to everybody, regardless of how they were driving. Maybe they were cutting me off and that was pissing me off, or they were speeding up, not letting me get over into the next lane. Maybe they weren't doing anything, but it was just the kind of car they were driving. and I looked at them and summed them up and had attitudes about who I thought they were, putting character on them just based upon how they're dressed and the kind of car that they were in. Just all these scenarios. Now, you ain't getting ahead of me. That's not happening. Just like whatever that stuff was. Okay. And just using driving as my practice of equanimity, using driving as my practice of noticing, okay, is this person trying to make a turn out of this parking lot? Could I be courteous enough and just give them some space, to do that? Is this person that seems to be slow and in my way, are they just nervous because they're a new driver or they're in an area that they're not familiar with, and barreling down on them, tailgating them, pushing, and I wasn't the honking kind, but people like honk at them. That's not going to help a nervous driver ahead of you. Just saying. Okay. The point is that I consciously started to do things to train myself to stay me, to stay with my values, my principles, to be open and flowing and caring and giving and sharing of the road. It just became this great metaphor of sharing for life. I do something similar now with bubbles. And I've talked about that from time to time. They make these like big, huge bubbles on the beach or wherever I am. Could be out in the street. I've got a little wind. And making it a practice to offer to anyone that comes up and speaks to me about it, to stop, to acknowledge, to speak to them, to offer to let them do it as well. I even travel with extra wands and engage them in conversation. Just engage them in conversation and even offer to share the formula. Because that's one of the things. Some of them don't want to do the bubbles. They want to take pictures. They want to stand around and talk, whatever that is. The point is that it's like graduating from this anonymous thing in the car where they don't know to putting myself in the position to actually have the exchange, to actually have it. And it does wonders for my personality. I'm just telling you. It does. Okay. Now, I'm not always into that. Okay. So there are times I deliberately choose locations where I'm not going to be bothered by anybody, where I'm not in the forgiveness mode for them breaking all my bubbles before I see how far they can go. Okay. So I'm not saying I'm always just, let me connect with you. I'm still kind of, I need my space. Okay? I need my private alone, and my bubbles is not only cathartic, but it's a very transformative experience for me in spiritual ways and in many different kinds of ways, the way they're long and they break off and they shift and they change and they're iridescent and what does this mean to release and have non-attachment, and they're never the same twice, and just all this stuff. Okay. And there are times that I consciously use it to make sure that I can stay in the flow. Okay. So my invitation to you is stretch. Stretch. Okay. This way of just engaging people on the beach, it opens me up to be able to be more available in those situations where I know the people and I know where they're coming from and I have resistance to them. Okay. These are strangers. Okay. You may not be able to work up the muscle that you need going deep into it. It's like you don't just start off running a marathon. Okay. You got to build your way up to it. Okay. So build your way up to it. Don't worry so much about like the fringe, the extreme, and how can I love them and how can I feel open and how can I have oneness? Okay, that's fine. But how about the neighbor next door with their yappy dog? Okay. What about the people in the grocery store? Okay. What about the stuff that's closer in? Start there. Start there. Because if there's a blockage in the flow, the blockage builds up over time. It doesn't, if your clogs are drained, if your drains are clogged, maybe a kid threw a toy down there or something, but usually it's a buildup. It's a buildup. It's the same thing with our hearts. If our hearts are clogged, our minds shut down, we may want to blame it on this particular thing or that thing, but that was just the sealer. That was just the last thing to tip it over. That plaque in your heart, that's been building up over some time. So don't just try to attract flow. Open yourself up to be the flow. Let's take a breath. Let's take this to prayer. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives. Our cups runneth over. The good that we seek is seeking us. In this moment right now, we open up wide. We say yes. We say yes to the truth of our being. We say yes to the great I am that I am, the creator of all things, that shares its co-creative power with us, to name things as so and to have it be for us. What an extraordinary power. In this moment right now, I say thank you, God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. By whatever name, still the same. Thank you. Thank you for provision, for all needs met, for showing up on time and in time, time and time again. We proclaim our oneness, knowing that our very essence is the stuff of the divine. It's our spiritual DNA. We're in this world, but we're not of it. We rightfully claim our inheritance. Our inheritance, we won't throw it away. We won't squander it. We will not allow the action of people, places, and things to cloud our vision. We unshackle ourselves from the karmic effects of other people's spiritual amnesia. We dare to be the flow. Thank you, Mother, Father God. You continue to take my breath away. I continue to be surprised and amazed at the macro and the micro, just amazed how no detail is too minute for divine attention. And no task in the universe is too magnificent to be accomplished. My little brain can't even handle it. I just know that it's true, and I've watched it happen time and time and time and time and time again. So I continue to call it forth. The all needs met. So many circumstances and conditions going on in our own lives and lives around the world. We call forth in this moment the enoughness, the divine sufficiency, enough food, clothing, housing, enough healthcare provisions, enough financial sustenance, enough freedom, respect, dignity, justice, divine protection, gainful places for employment, providing for one's family. I speak my word of the love and the interconnectedness beyond any identity politics. The universe doesn't care about red or blue, doesn't care about black or white. It doesn't care about gender. It doesn't care about socioeconomic status. It doesn't care about nationality. It don't even care about religion. It's just life being life. It's not dividing itself up, and we won't divide each other up. We won't divide our own selves up. Give thanks for this wholeness prayer. I say a special word for the financial abundance, the prosperity, the sustenance of this extraordinary ministry and spiritual community known as Inner Light. That it too is all needs met and then some. Fully resourced with the full capacity to rise to its calling and its purpose. No impediment. Just living in that most sacred yes. This is the prayer. We get out of the way, we allow it to be, and so it is. As we breathe that in, we invite you to share with us your prayer requests. You'll see scrolling across your screen are two ways in which you can get those prayer requests to us. You can give us a call at 831-465-9090, extension 254. You can also send us an email. The number 4, the word prayer, at innerlightministries.com. One of our prayer practitioners will get back to you and be there with you. We all start praying as soon as the prayers come through. You will get a response from a specific individual. It's all confidential. There's no charge, although of course donations are always appreciated. Feel free to share with us the good news as well. And maybe you're not in crises, you just want somebody to stand with you in the knowingness or some wonderful development that's happening in your life. We're here with you as spiritual community. And it is our pleasure to speak the word for you, with you, and over you. And so that is. Amen. Let's just take a breath. Take a breath. I mentioned in my message about a Bible class that we had last Wednesday as part of a Bible series, two workshops, although they stand alone independently. It's called Faith in Action. We had the first one, The Intent to Be Whole. And the second one is going to be coming up on this coming Saturday. It's called Faith is Not Blind. Okay. You can still register for that. In fact, if you want access to the recording and all the materials for the one that we just had, you can sign up for both of them, like at a discount, either or. You don't physically have to be present there to partake of it. If you can, we encourage you to do that. You see there is a QR code that's there. You can take a snapshot of this if you like. You'll also find it in our social media things. It is from 9:30 to noon. That's Pacific time on October the 25th, 2025. And I deeply encourage you to come. We're going to be cross-comparing some stories about good faith and little faith, We're going to be doing the centurion's servant, walking on the water, the hymn of the garment, and the tempest. We're going to be going over those 4 stories. So we hope to see you there. Thank you for your contributions, for your gifts. We are so grateful being an independent spiritual community, wanting you to know that it comes from you. It comes from you. There's no membership. So even if this is your very first time, if you're here, we consider you part of spiritual community. This message that we have of the oneness, boy, does it really need to get out there. And all of your money helps us to multiply this consciousness, to get this message out there, to carry on our programming. You'll see on your screen, there are numerous ways in which you can make that contribution. You can use the QR code there with your mobile phone. It'll let you do credit card, debit card, PayPal if you like. You can use Zelle or Venmo. The handle is accounting@innerlightministries.com. For both of those, you can text to give at 831-231-0065. And with all of those, they give you an option to do recurring donation. Okay? Even on the Zelle, even on the Venmo. There's also Cash App at $ Inner Light Ministries. So regardless of the methodology that you choose, the avenue, it all comes to the same place, and it all is used for the same purpose of the growth, the healing, and the transformation. If you want to mail in, you can mail it in to P.O. Box 1029 in Soquel, California, 95073. Or if you're on the website right now, you can just click right there where it says donate, and it'll take you straight to a portal. As I was talking today about the flow is never one way. Okay, something's got to come in to be able to go out. We're part of these open channels. So I thank you for doing that, and know that it's not a one-way street, and that your generosity comes back to you. Okay, you are blessed in the same manner that you bless. Just let that sink in. So we thank you for sharing this time with us. Please, if you are there on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us, spread the word, share this, come back to the affirmations again. And until we see you next time, as always, take this consciousness and multiply it.